My sister kicked me out of the house after our father's passing, but she didn't know he had foreseen it. Before my dad passed away, it was just the three of us living in his house, me, my dad, and my older sister. But if I'm being honest, she was barely around. She never seemed to consider herself part of our family. The house was more of a crash pad for her than a home. 2 weeks ago, my dad passed away. We were incredibly close, unlike my sister, who always kept her distance. Then came the will. At my dad's lawyer's office, we found out that he left the entire house to my sister and me. I got his old watch. I nearly broke down when I held it. It felt like I was holding a piece of him. For a few days, we still lived under the same roof until, out of nowhere, my sister said, "This is it, our paths split here. I need you to leave." I had just gotten home from work, and my stuff was already packed and dumped by the door. I panicked and called our lawyer, telling him my sister had kicked me out and that I needed advice. But instead of sympathizing with me, I heard something unexpected. He laughed. "I can't believe this. Everything is happening just as your father predicted. Something for you," he said. "Meet me at this address, I will text it to your phone." So I showed up at the address and the lawyer was already standing waiting for me. I was uncomfortable approaching him. I just smiled at him and he walked me into the house. All I noticed was the looks he was giving me, as if he had a secret. And then he handed me a folder. "This house is yours. Your dad bought it for you before his death." He seemed pretty serious about it. I asked him, "You are kidding, right?" I started to cry. I cried not because of the house, it's because I lost a loving father. The old watch was my most treasured companion since my dad left. I remember the first time I held it. I felt connected to my dad immediately. Every time I opened it, I was transported back to a time when he was around, full of endless memories and beautiful moments that slipped through the cracks of everyday life and felt too precious to forget. It's more than a watch, it's a tangible piece of treasure specially gifted by my father. And as long as I have this watch, I know I'll never be alone. Rest in peace, Daddy. Moral: we as human beings experience a lot of different emotions, accidents, and situations that make us laugh, cry, excited or depressed, etc. I can say I've experienced many of these. Many of them changed my view of life and had a strong impact on people, but there is always that special period that won't forget for the rest of my life.